Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to part 1 of the 4th Winter 2021-2022 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, it's time to bring you another winter update in 2 parts, and I shall get on with part 1 of the 4th Winter 2021-2022 update for you in a second. Just say that part 2 of this video will be released tomorrow on Monday, and that'll be focusing, on the analog side of the update. This is going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature, solar activity, Eurasian snow cover, extent, and all that kind of thing. So more about that in a second. So just say that coming up later on today, you're going to have a live stream from 6 PM, so I'm sure people will have questions about this 4th winter update, so you'll be able to ask your questions in the live stream at 6. Because we're not doing 10 to 14 day video update at the moment while we're doing, winter updates, we're going to include that in the live stream as well, so we'll look at short range data for the next 10 to 14 days, and we'll also have some long range as well, be a CFS spare, so we're going to be a great live stream, and that'll be coming up from 6 PM, and I shall see you live at 6. Right, this could be quite a long video, as always, with the long range, so if you can't watch it all in one go, don't worry, it will be kept on the channel in the Winter Updates playlist. It's already there, so you can come back and watch the video on demand whenever you would like to. That's not a problem whatsoever, and yeah, you can watch it in bite parts. There will be, a couple of breaks as we go along. We can go off, digest the information, and then come back to it a little bit later on if you want. And of course you can watch it all in one go as well, if you would like to do that, so it's no problem whatsoever. You just digest the information we're going to present for you how you would like to. Gotta say thank you so much to Rich for the winter updates gift, and also for the swingometer you're going to see in a second. So yes, we will be starting with the swingometer. That's coming up in a moment. Rich has done that for us, and winter updates gift, and there's solar data as well from Rich. So thank you so much to my good friend Richard Traut for the help on part 1 of this for winter update. And then tomorrow, part 2 actually will be a Richard special outside the box. More about that at the end of the video. Also, I'm going to say thank you so much to Shryan for all of the help on this video, and I'll point out where Shryan has helped as well, as we go along. Thank you so much to Rich, thank you so much to Shryan for all the work on this video. Right, so as I said, we're going to begin this 4th Winter 2021-2022 update with the swingometer. So we showed you the first swingometer last week. After 2 winter updates, we was favouring a colder than average winter with our first 2 winter updates by 53 to 47%. How is the swingometer looking now? Let's have a look in a second. Let's count it down, shall we? So here we go. You're going to see the swingometer after 3 updates. This is how things are looking in 3, in 2, in 1. Here we go. Yes, after 3 updates, we are still favouring a colder than average winter by 51% to 49%. However, we have had a swing from cold to mild since the first couple of updates. First 2 updates to the 3rd update did see a swing from cold to mild. Nevertheless, we are still saying that after 3 updates, we're very narrowly favouring a colder than average winter by 51% to 49%. So there we go. That is how the swingometer is looking as of 3 updates. You will find out at the beginning of next week, next week's update, at the beginning of update number 5, how this update number 4, in 2 parts, has affected the swingometer. But for now, we are still favouring very narrowly a colder than average winter. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Rich for the swingometer. Good already, isn't it? Right, let's start then. I'm going to begin with oceans data. So this is how the oceans were looking when we did last week's 3rd Winter 2021-2022 update. Got our 4 areas of interest. Of course, we've got the ENSO region just here. We've got the Northern Pacific over here with particular focus on the Northeastern Pacific. Got the Indian Ocean over there, and we've got the North Atlantic Ocean over there. Had a very warm North Atlantic Ocean, of course, last week, and we went through all of the data back to 1985, and we worked out that the closest matches to the current year in terms of what the Atlantic Ocean is doing, probably 2012, 2010, and 2003. But we go all the way back to 1985. If you have not yet seen part one of the third Winter 2021-2022 update, you know, going all of those years back to 1985, then do check it out. It's in the last sort of 5-10 minutes of the video. But that's how the oceans were looking, broadly speaking, when we did last week's update. Let's have a look at the very, very latest, Benny, shall we? And here we go. So that's the latest as of the 24th of September. Let's deal with the ENSO region first of all. So, of course, this is the Pacific Ocean just here. The ENSO region is showing a La Nina still. Got cold and average sea surface temperature anomalies pretty much across all ENSO regions, right way from, or regions of the ENSO region, I suppose I should say, right the way from Peru just here to Indonesia, which is over there. Coldest sort of in this central western part of the Pacific Ocean, I think, but also in the east. The east has cooled down as well, so we clearly have a cold and average sea surface temperature on profile through the Pacific Ocean. The signature of La Nina is there. How does that compare to last week? And that situation last week, this situation this week. I think there's been very little change, but we might have seen a slight strengthening, if anything, of the La Nina signature over the past week. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Has La Nina strengthened a little bit, you know, in terms of those colder than average sea surface temperature anomalies? I think they have. I think we have seen a slight cooling, further reduction of those sea surface temperature anomalies. So we clearly have a weak La Nina signal embedded now. Notice it's significantly colder on average to the south of the Pacific Ocean as well, through here and extending back towards Chile. That is often, you know, a signal for La Nina as well, and same true for El Nino. You know, if those areas go warm, then that will be a signal for El Nino to be developing. At the moment, they're looking quite cold to the south of the equator and down towards Chile, which again is kind of an indication of La Nina. Also beginning to go colder to the north of the Pacific Ocean around here as well. That's kind of like the cold PDO area. So that's how it looked last week to the north of the Pacific Ocean. This is how it looks this week. I think we have seen a bit of an expansion of both colder and average sea surface temperature anomalies just there. And we might just be starting to see a little bit of a horseshoe shape of cold beginning to appear around here, which you would expect as the La Nina develops, because remember what La Nina is doing, what this cold event is doing, it's kind of turning the thermostat down, you know, across by the ocean. So and so it's one of the ways that the Earth sort of regulates its own temperature. When you have an El Nino, a warm event, you release heat out through the oceans, and when you have a La Nina, you reduce heat and you cool the oceans down. So the fact that we have again this is second year La Nina, of course. In fact, we have a second year La Nina. You would expect, like the Northern Pacific, to start going colder, along with the southern part of the Pacific Ocean as well. So I would expect this area to cool down, actually, as we go through the course of the next few weeks and months. Let's deal with that area. So going back to last week, that's how things are looking in the northern and northeastern Pacific through here. So obviously it's very warm through there, but we did say that around the coast of Alaska, Canada, and North America, we might actually have seen a little bit of reduction on the week before. I think that's carried on over this week as well. So yes, things are continuing to cool down through here in this far northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean. And again, I think we're not all that far, we're not overly far from beginning to get a bit of a horseshoe shape of cold starting to set up. Obviously, there's this large, massive area of very warm sea surface temperature anomalies here that we have got to get rid of as well. But it's certainly a start. You know, things are certainly cooling, particularly in that northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean. Let's move over to the Indian Ocean. So this is how the Indian Ocean looked last week. So we have the signature of a neutral to weakly negative IOD, Indian Ocean dipole, because we have a cooler than average sea surface temperature anomaly near the coast of Africa, and a warmer than average sea surface temperature anomaly towards Indonesia. And when you get that split, that is a neutral to negative IOD, Indian Ocean dipole. very little change over the past week. So, yes, it still remains quite cool from here. Maybe not quite as cool as it was last week, but it's still cooler there and warmer over here. So I think we still have very least a neutral IOD, if not a weekly negative IOD. And then in the North Atlantic, again, let's go back to last week, see how things looked. In the North Atlantic last week. So what's going on there? Let's go back here. Right, see how things looked in the North Atlantic last week. There we go. That's where we're focusing on now. Of course, had a very warm North Atlantic last week. And again, we established that, you know, the Atlantic has got similarities with 2012, 2010, and 2003. Possibly also 2017, but a little bit less so for 2017. Right, so that's how the Atlantic looked last week. This is how it looks this week. We're picking up exactly where we left off last week, by the way. And yeah, it's still significantly warmer than average in nearly all areas of the North Atlantic, to be honest. So it's still, you know, really warm for its northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. It's still really warm for the tropical Atlantic as well. It's possibly a little bit cooler through here, so we're probably not all that far away from a tripod, but we do need to cool this down, this area down a lot, you know, to be before we could be able to say that we have got a tripod. But it's kind of got that sort of signature slightly anyway. A bit warmer around there, definitely warmer through there, and then maybe a little bit cooler through there. I think we have seen a little bit of a cool down towards Newfoundland around here. Only very minor, only very modest cool down, but maybe slightly cooler there compared to how things looked last week. So that's how it looked around Newfoundland last week. This is how it looks this week. So possibly slight reduction in the temperature there. But overall, it's just a very warm, ongoing, very warm North Atlantic. This is the 7-day change for the oceans over the past 7 days, unsurprisingly. So in the ENSO region, it does vary from area to area, but I think overall we have cooled the ENSO region down further, and especially so actually towards this eastern part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, where it has been quite warm. The sea surface temperatures have cooled quite drastically there. In the Indian Ocean, we've maybe warmed things up a little bit through here, so we don't want to see too much of that going on, because if it gets warmer there and turns cooler there, then that will start to move towards a positive IOD. So we don't want to see that continuing if we want a cold winter or a colder winter. But you do if you want a mild winter, of course. So some of the people watching this are going to be wanting a mild winter. Now, very interesting in the Northern Pacific. I don't think this is too much to worry about. There are quite minor changes over the past week. But I go further north into the Northern Pacific. Look at this. We have seen quite a dramatic cool down over the past 7 days. You know, the 7-day change definitely shows that we have seen some quite drastic cooling, particularly in this central northern part of the Pacific Ocean. Of course, it is still warmer than average there, as we see here, you know, but because it's starting from such a high level. But we've actually dropped the temperature by around, I think, 3 degrees there in those darker purple colours. Also continuing to cool in the northeastern Pacific as well, not by as much, but still cooling down around here. So I think just generally getting colder in the northern Pacific at the moment. And then over into the North Atlantic, where we see that the tropical Atlantic, much of the tropics, is still warming. Actually, the 7-day trend is for the tropics to continue to get ever warmer. Still reasonably warm to the south of Greenland as well. Generally, most of the sea surface temperatures are warming there. And then, interestingly, we have this area in between, particularly again around Newfoundland, that has kind of cooled slightly. Now, does that look a little bit tripole-esque in terms of a 7-day trend? Let me know what you think in the comments. But to me, remember, these are anomalies. This is just the trend of the temperature over the past 7 days. But if this was to carry on, to me, we would probably finish up with a tripole, with things being warmer there, things being cooler there, if we can get it all the way back to eastern seaboard and over towards Spain, and then warmer down here. So yeah, could that be moving towards a bit of a tripole? I wonder, but it's only a 7-day change, of course, only a 7-day trend, but the Atlantic looking ever more interesting, of course. In terms of ENSO, let's have a look at the Southern Oscillation Index. So SY, of course, is just measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. It does not drive anything, so in turn it just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. So when you have a negative SOI, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Nino. When you have a positive SOI, atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. You've got to get the atmosphere to couple with the ocean to get these events really entrenched and bedded in. So for a developing, strengthening La Nina, you would expect the atmosphere also to have a La Nina type signal. Let's have a look at what's going on with the IOD then. So this is our dates column just here. This is from Queensland Government, by the way. Our dates column just here. Our column for Tahiti, barometric pressure just there. Darwin, barometric pressure just there. And the overall SOI number is just there. Now, I have a lot of positivity of the Southern Oscillation Index through much of September. The atmospheric state has been very reflective of La Nina. For example, we get the 12th of September at plus 24, 13th of September at plus 27, 14th of September at plus 14, 17th of September at plus 14, 18th of September plus 14, 19th of September plus 12, on and on it goes. Very reflective of La Nina with the atmospheric setup. The last 2 or 3 days have done something a little bit different though. So the 23rd of September shows shows minus 10.222. The 24th of September shows minus 18, and the 25th of September shows minus 15. Those numbers are telling us that for those 3 days, the atmospheric setup in the Southern Ocean shifted more towards El Nino. You can expect day-to-day fluctuations, though, temporary fluctuations to the overall setup, and, you know, that's to be expected in any ENSO event, be it developing or mature or weakening. You will get, fluctuations that occur from day to day, and sometimes from week to week as well. So that's not, although the atmospheric setup there is reflective of El Nino on those 3 days, it's not telling us that La Nina is over and we're going into an El Nino at all. And I expect we will find that we will swing back into La Nina type atmospheric setups in the coming days. The overall SOI 30-day average has reduced because of that, however. Still very positive though. So around a week ago, we was up here around plus 11. Now we're there around plus 8. So we're still in an atmospheric setup with the 30-day SOI average. But yeah, just a slight fluctuation has taken place. The 90-day average, of course, because it's 90-day average, which is the yellow dashed line, that moves around much less, and that is still positively in La Nina territory as well. CFSV2 continues to forecast that La Nina is going to become a moderate event, actually. I think it's overdoing it, but the all-important number here is a half a degree below average, minus 0.5. Our dates in monthly periods are down here. So we're starting off that with this is around here, of course. So, yeah, we've reached La Nina threshold. We're around 1 degree below average. But you can see from the black dash line that is actually dropping down to over 1.5 degrees below average, which does get us to moderate La Nina type territory. This ensemble member just here, ensemble blue member just here, by the way, would deliver a super La Nina, but of course that is an outrageous outlier. But we do see that CFSB2 is forecasting that La Nina will become a moderate to nearly borderline strong event, actually. But I think it's overdue. I think in the end we'll pull up around here. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We might see a very dramatic drop in the temperature during October and November. But I'll be quite surprised if it ends up that strong. I reckon the black dash line eventually, in the end, will pull up at around 1 degree or a little bit under 1 degree below average, which will be kind of like a weak La Nina. Of course, associated with the oceans is what's going on with this year's Atlantic hurricane season. So this is the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season page from Wikipedia. And these are the scores on the doors, Miss Ford. So here we go. We have had so far for this season, 2021, 19 tropical depressions. Also 19 tropical storms, 7, count them, 7 hurricanes, and now 4 major Category 3 or above hurricanes. So it's a big old season. We've still got a way to go. It's only the 26th of September, 25th when I'm recording this. We've got at least another month, if not a bit more, as it's an active season of further storms to go. So obviously this is going to be yet another really, really big season in terms of, you know, both numbers and also almost certainly ACE, accumulated cyclone energy. So this is being updated by Shrine. Shrine is keeping this updated for us. This is the ACE page, Atlantic Hurricane Season by ACE from 1851 to present. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Shrine Brewing for keeping this updated. So these are our years then, all the way back to 1851. The classification is either below normal, near normal, average, above average, or actually it's, no, that's wrong. Below normal, near normal, average, or hyperactive are our classifications. And we roll down through all of the years, all the way down to the current year. And this is it then. We get to 2021 and accumulated cyclone energy. Remember, ACE accumulated cyclone energy is just kind of like telling us how much energy the storms are emitting. You know, as each storm develops, as each tropical storm develops, as each hurricane develops, as each major hurricane develops, they all emit their own individual amount of energy. And there is a way that is calculated and classified, and when I do our hurricane special towards the end of this season of updates, I will probably give you the full classification for ACE and tell you how you know, ACE is classified and how it's worked out. But each storm is given its own individual amount of energy, and then that is totaled up, you know, for a total ACE number for the season. At the moment, as of the 25th of September, ACE is standing at 88.40. 88.40. And that's above average. At this point in the season, the running average would be expected to be 76.40. So ACE is running above average at the moment. This time, it's also running above this time last year as well, by the way. So this time last year, on the 19th of September 2020, ACE was running at 79.80. So significantly above last year for ACE at the moment, and significantly above the running average up to 25th of September. And that, of course, is after 19 storms, 7 hurricanes. And we've got 3 major hurricanes here, but that's changed, we know, up to 4. So since Shrine updated the page with the Hurricane Sam, I think has gone up to a major Category 3 hurricane now. So, yeah, big old season. At the moment, overall classification is near normal, but I think after Sam has finished with us, Major Hurricane Sam, after that one is finished with us, I expect that is going to go above normal. I would not be surprised if that's above normal by this time next week for accumulated cyclone energy, but we shall see. Right, okay, so we have talked for 20 minutes. I'm going to pause the video there, and when we're going to come back, we're going to resume. We're going to start off by having a look, in the next part, we're going to start off by having a look at solar activity. You go and stretch your legs, get yourself a cup of tea, cup of chair, whatnot, and a few nibbles, and I shall see you back in around 2 seconds' time. See you soon. Okay, we're back and we're ready to resume part 1 of the 4th Winter 2021-2022 update from GavsWeatherVids. If you're enjoying the video so far, please do smash the like button, make sure you sub to the channel. Thank you so much everybody for doing that, and drop a comment when you watch the video and let us know what you think about all of the various talking points and about the video overall. Of course, we're going to be live streaming after 6 o'clock, so you can let me know on the live stream as well what you think. It is so warm here in GavsWeatherVids house tonight when I'm recording this video on the 25th of September. It's like a summer night. It's absolutely surreal doing winter updates when it is like a midsummer night. It's incredible. But I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as I can and then go and stick my head in the freezer, I think. We're going to begin this next part of the part 1 of the 4th Winter update by having a look at solar activity. So this is how the solar disk is looking on our side of the disk today from solarham.net. We've got various areas of interest and sunspot regions, some regions around here and down here as well. So clearly we are going for a more active phase on the solar disk at the moment, despite that, Solar Ham is reporting that solar activity is at low levels and is expected to remain at low levels for the next 3 days. So obviously, although we've got quite a few sunspot areas, they aren't emitting all that much in the way of energy at the moment. This is the GavsWeatherVids Winter Update Solar Activity Tracker. It's been updated by Shryan. Thank you so much to Shryan for keeping this Solar Activity Tracker updated. Very up and down at the moment. So the orange line and the orange spots indicating like each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. And you remember last week we had a plummet in activity. So on the, I think it's like second winter update, we was up here. So we had a spike up in activity to the second winter update. The third winter update though took us down to there. And we did have 2 or 3 days without any sunspots at all where we were spotless. And we had those orange dots on the bottom on the floor of the chart. Now we are back up here again. Let's just get rid of those. Now we are back up here. Once again, we did go back up to there a couple of days ago. We're now around there, so we're dropping again, actually. But, yeah, really up and down. You know, some days very active now, some days not having any activity at all. And I suppose this is what you'd expect in the early part of the solar cycle. I think averaging it all out, we are probably still a little bit below average, given that we are now nearly 2 years into solar cycle number 25. All of this is lifting up the trend line, which is the, well, the trend lines, which is the, or are the thick red and thick green lines. They are lifting up. The thick red line is a 7-day average, and the green line is the 30-day average, and they are ticking up over time. So actually the 30-day average is higher than it's been at any point through this solar cycle. I think it's just there. So yeah, I think the 30-day average has now gone higher than it's ever been during solar cycle number 25, but still relatively low, you know, for this part of the solar cycle. Of course, what this doesn't tell us is how much energy all of these sunspots are actually giving out. Right, who am I today? Let's have a look. Thank you so much for Shrine for updating that. Who am I today? Let's have a look. I think I am I Frank Drebin? Is it Gav Drebin? Gav Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen. Wow, from The Naked Gun. How funny is that? Thank you so much, Rich, for turning me into Leslie Nielsen. What a funny man he was, wasn't he? Right, okay, loving Airplane. Right, okay, don't call me Shirley. Oh dear, I'm making myself cough now. I better pat that in. So sorry, everybody. Don't call me Shirley. Right, okay, so for the current spotless, it's showing spotless days and the current spotless stretch, you know, over the past few years. So for the current spotless stretch, it's 0 days, given that, you know, we have had sunspots over the past few days. For 2021 so far, we have 59 days without sunspots. That's 22% of this year, of 2021, that we have had without sunspots. If we come down to the last time, it's like 2 years into a solar cycle, it would be 2010, so our comparable year to this year is 2010. That had 51 days, that the total of the year without sunspots, so we passed that, which was 14% of the year. So we will have a higher number of spotless days this year than 2010, and we will have a higher percentage as well. Just to give you some idea of what we can expect when we get to solar maximum. So look at this when we get to like 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. We have like 4 years there, but have like sunspots every day, or virtually every day, through those 4 years. So that's the kind of thing we expect in a year or two's time when we start moving towards solar maximum of solar cycle number 25. Thank you so much, Rich, and also thank you so much to Shryan for updating the data there. And we're going to do, I think we're going to do our solar special. Some people asked me about this. I think we're going to do our solar special with update number 7. So this is update number 4, of course, got a couple more to do, and then I think we'll do a solar special, update number 7, when we reach the halfway point. We will look much more in-depth then at solar activity, including solar cycle analogues. How exciting will that be? QBO looks like this. Thank you so much to Rich, and also to Shrine for the data. Right, QBO looking like this is from NASA. So this is showing the western and eastern QBO phases. Of course it is. So you have to think of this as a totally atmosphere in the stratosphere just here. That's 10 HPA. This is the westerly QBO just here from 2018-2019. This is the easterly QBO just here, but failed last year. We should have had a descension from the stratosphere to the troposphere of the eastern QBO. It failed. Westerly QBO hung on, and last winter was actually a westerly QBO winter. The current situation is that the eastern QBO is descending green merit colours moving down from the stratosphere into the troposphere, indicated by those increasingly intense green and blue colours. If you zoom in, we can see that, yeah, very much so, we have the easterly QBO well and truly entrenched from the stratosphere down into a troposphere. The all-important boundary line is, of course, 30 HPA to 50 HPA, and there it is. So this will be an easterly QBO winter, strong, probably easterly QBO winter, and in a future update, we will attempt to quantify what that could mean. Arctic oscillation looks like this. So the AO observed and forecast chart looking like this. Remember, black line shows where I've been with the AO, red line at the end, where GFS ensembles are forecasting AO to go. When the Arctic oscillation is positive, got low pressure over the Arctic node pole. When the AO is negative, got high pressure blocking over the Arctic node pole. Current position with the AO is weekly positive, neutral to weekly positive. GFS ensembles is going to October, forecasting that the AO is going to go negative. So the blocking signal is strengthening into October, and as we go further on into October, we may well be seeing that the AO stays negative generally as well. I think most of the GFS ensemble members are keeping the AO negative, so it looks like October will see a increase in the northern blocking signal. At the same time, the NAO is dropping as well, so all these indexes just measuring atmospheric pressure, not driving anything in their own terms, but this is measuring air pressure between Iceland and the Azores, where the AO is positive, as it was here, for example. We've got low pressure on Iceland, high pressure from the Azores, and it's vice versa when the NAO goes negative. At the moment, the NAO is neutral to weakly negative. The GFS ensembles moving to October, forecasting that the NAO is going to stay or become even more negative. So we are in a negative phase of both the AO and the NAO as we're going into October, and that's probably a signal for colder, wetter weather for northern and western Europe, and the jet stream coming southward, so colder and wetter, I think, is the signal. In terms of stratospheric temperatures at 10 HPA, this is how things looking from the JMA. So remember, 10 HPA is like the top level of the atmosphere in the stratosphere. This is looking at temperatures at 10 HPA over the North Pole. The grey line is a trend line, so we are in a cooling time of year, of course. We will reach our coldest point with those stratospheric temperatures over the pole, which will be around minus 70 at 10 HPA, sometime around sort of the end of the year into the beginning of January on average. At the moment, the black line is very, very close to the grey line. Maybe ever so slightly under it, maybe slightly below average, but you know, not a particularly big deviation. We're very, very close to long-term averages in terms of temperature at 10 HPA in the stratosphere. And going low down to 30 HPA, again, we're just very much on a par with the long-term trend. So we're cooling down, but not excessively so. The temperature at both 10 and 30 HPA is about average with those stratospheric temperatures. Now, this is a new feature. This is from the ECMWF. I've just started showing this over the past couple of days. This is showing the next 6 weeks of temperatures, temperature anomalies at 10 HPA over the North Pole. So, of course, we've got the North Pole just here. Temperature scales on the side, so if we go into these deep blue colours, then we've got a much colder than average temperature anomaly at 10 HPA in the stratosphere. If we go into these darker, redder red colours here, pink to red, then we've got warmer than average temperatures at 10 HPA over the North Pole. At the moment, we're sort of in the white over North Pole, which is average. We've already established that the temperature is about average up there. So let's go through the next 6 weeks then. This is 27th. This is how things look next week, 27th, 4th of October, about average over North Pole. That's how things look for the following week, which is the temp to the which is 14th, 11th of October. Again, about average over the North Pole. But look at this, we get through to the following week, which is the 11th to the 18th of October. We've got some red appearing. We have already got a well, not sun, but we have got a stratospheric warming taking place over on the Pacific side of the Arctic, like from Siberia backing towards Canada. On the temperature scale, that would be around, let's have a look, I think that's around 4 to 6 degrees above average in that deeper sort of redder colour just there. And it's 3 weeks out, it's a very long way out, but it is really early to be seeing any sort of warming of the stratosphere over the Arctic and the North Pole, you know, it would typically be a dramatically cooling time of the year, generally, with those temperatures in the stratosphere. So that is really quite unusual for that to be happening. Going further out, look, you intensify even further into the next week. This is the 18th, 25th of October. This is very, very unusual, I think. I don't know if this will verify. Again, this is a new feature based on the ENSO extended model. I don't know if this is going to verify or not, but it is very, 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 very unusual to get that level of warming in the stratosphere late in October, and would imply we will see a weakening of the polar vortex if that comes off. I don't quite reach these sudden stratospheric warming type levels, but it certainly goes like 6 to 8 degrees above average there at the core of that, which is a pretty intense warming. You know, that is very intense for the time of year. It begins to move more towards Canada and sort of fades a little bit as we go into the end of October, and then this is the final week, week 6, 1st to the 8th of November, and it's still generally looking pretty warm, you know, especially over this Pacific and Canadian and Siberian side of the Arctic. So generally a warmer than average stratosphere over stratospheric temperature anomaly over the next 6 weeks, which is very, again, I have to emphasize, this is a cooling time of year. You would expect the temperature to be getting ever colder with this, as we see from the grey line on here, like trend line. You'd expect the temperature to be getting colder at 10 HPA and dropping. What we see here is that temperature actually gets warmer through October and into the beginning of November, which is highly, highly unusual. It's a new feature. We'll monitor it every week, see what happens. But if this comes off, it does imply that the polar vortex is likely to weaken via this warming as we go through this autumn. And this is what we see from the zonal zonal wind forecast at 10 HPA over the North Pole. Again, from the ECMWF. So at the moment, we're starting off around here. We've got stronger zonal winds than average. Interestingly, although the temperature normally temperature isn't that cold at 10 HPA in the stratosphere, actually the zonal winds are pretty strong. That's where the zonal winds should be at this point of the year. So we have been at record-breaking levels for our zonal wind over the past few days. I think we do see, though, data on the bottom, so as we go through October into November, look at this, we do see that we get a reduction of the strength of the zonal wind, and actually we go below average for the strength of the zonal winds as we go on into further on into October and into November. So clearly from where we're starting off there to where we are around here by the end of October into November, clearly, you know, there is a weakening of the strength of zonal winds, which is telling us that the polar vortex is going to weaken through October, which is unusual. You would not expect October to be associated with a strengthening of zonal winds. Quite a few, actually a significant sort of minority of ensemble members are going for a reversal of zonal winds at 10 HPA by the end of October, which would be extraordinarily unusual, and I can't believe that would come off. But even a weakening of zonal winds in what would normally be a strengthening period of the year is quite unusual. So things look very, very interesting, you know, stratosphere-wise at the moment. Right, we talked to 36 minutes. It's a long video bit. So when we come back, we're going to look at some Eurasian snow cover data for the first time this season. So I'll see you in 2 seconds. Okay, welcome back to the final part of the part 1 of the Fall Winter 2021-2022 update. We're running quite late, so I will not talk about anything else. We're going to crack straight on and jump into this. And for the first time this season, we're going to start looking at Eurasian snow cover. Wow. Here we go then. So this is how things looked across Eurasia in terms of snow cover. Last week when we did the third Winter 2021-2022 update, we did have some snow patches. One just here, more towards the far northeastern part of Siberia. That's from the 17th of September. This is the very latest. That's how it compares. We have seen an increase in snow cover across Eurasia, eastern part of Eurasia, and eastern part of Siberia, over the past week. This is up to 24th of September. Yes, we have some of these white patches expanding out. So compared to last week, clearly we have seen an increase in snow cover. Right, we're going to start going through every year back to 1998 and compare. So this is how we compare this day, 24th of September 2021 to this time last year, 2020. Look at that, much more away snow cover this year compared to 2020. So how we compared to 2019, what do you think about that one? I reckon we got a little bit more snow cover this year compared to 2019. That's 2018, we've got more snow cover this year compared to 2018. That's 2017. Now we might be quite comparable, though the areas are slightly different. But I reckon in terms of total coverage, we might be quite comparable to 2017. Maybe a little bit behind 2017, but not by much, up to 24th September. That's 2016. I reckon we're ahead of 2016 for snow cover. That's 2015. What do you think about that? I reckon we're quite close to 2015, maybe a little bit behind it. That's 2014. What do you think about that one? Probably a little bit behind 2014. That's 2013. We're possibly a little bit behind that one as well. 2012, we're slightly ahead of 2012, or maybe quite significantly ahead of 2012, actually. That is 2011. I reckon we're ahead of 2011 for this point. That's 2010. What do you think about that one? We might be a little bit behind 2010, but actually, as the areas are slightly different, we're probably, in terms of total coverage, actually reasonably close to 2010. But the areas that are covered, are a little bit different. But we might be a bit behind 2010. Right, let's carry on. This is 2009, so we're ahead of 2009 for total Siberian snow cover. That's 2008. We're probably quite close to 2008 in terms of total snow cover. 2007, we're ahead of 2007 quite clearly. We're also ahead of 2006 quite significantly at this point. We're ahead of 2004 as well. And we're ahead of 2003 for snow cover also, 24th of September. We're probably a bit behind 2002. That's 2001, going a long way back now, of course. We're probably a little bit behind 2001. That's 2000. Whoops, no, you want to go there. Where are we on tabs? There we are. Right, sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what happened there. That's 2001 this year. That is 2000. I reckon probably quite close to 2000, but the areas that are covered are slightly different. I don't know what I'm doing with the tabs then. That's 1999. I think we're a little bit behind 1999. And that's 1998. We're probably a little bit behind 1998 as well. So we're not doing bad. We're not doing bad for snow coverage. We're behind some years. We're ahead of some years. Nothing exceptional is going on. I have seen some reports, elsewhere that there's like an exceptionally early build-up of snow cover. I can't really see that up to this point. It may really start flying that over the next week, and we'll look at it again, of course, we will, next week. So it could be that in the coming week we're going to see a massive expansion. But up to this point, that's the 24th of September, nothing particularly out of the ordinary going on. We're about on trend, I think, back to 1998. We're about in the middle of the pack, I think. Some years a little bit ahead of where we are right now. Some years quite a bit behind. So nothing overly dramatic happening. Maybe we'll see something dramatic next week. Next week, I think we'll try to go in further back, maybe to the 1960s, but I'll have to see what time we have left in the video. Right, okay, so 40-minute epic. Thank you so much, everybody, for enjoying, hopefully, part 1 of the 4th Winter 2021-2022 update. Part 2 of this 4th update is going to be coming up for you tomorrow. It's going to be an outside-box special, courtesy of my good friend Richard Traut. So you'll be able to see part 2 of this 4th Winter update tomorrow at 6 p.m. I've already recorded it. It's an interesting watch, to say the least. And please check it out, for Rich and for myself. But particularly for Rich, who spent a lot of time working on the outside of a box special. So that's coming up tomorrow. But for part 1, oh, by the way, say about live stream, I'll be seeing you at 6 p.m, hopefully, for our live stream. And, for part 1 of the 4th Winter 2021-2022 update, that's all for now. And thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.